Welcome to HGK's Vinyl Life. I'm your host, Anthony K. And on this episode, we're at Rick's Recollections. It's Black Friday 2022, which can mean only one thing. It's Record Store Day, Black Friday. And I'm the first one in line here. I got here at 9 o'clock. I've been here about 15 minutes now. And it's ghost town. So that's great. I guess I'll be first in the door, or maybe only one in the door. Who knows? But I'm sure people will start to show up before 10 o'clock when Rick opens. There's only a couple things I want on my list today. 2 for sure's, 4 maybes, and 1 that I know will not be able to find in Canada, and I'll probably have to buy from a Discogs flipper because I think it's only being released in the UK. So we'll see when I get inside there. I'm not going to say what they are, I'll ruin the surprise, but I'm pretty sure the 2 that I want will be pretty easy to get. The 4 maybes, we'll see. They're maybes because there's some records every record store day that you kind of just want to see in person first before you make the final decision. So there's 4 maybes, 2 for sure's. We'll see what happens. I'll see you guys from Record Store Day. So I'm now at PCV Records in Oakville, Ontario. A successful haul from Rick's Recollections. The 2 items I wanted most on the list, I was able to pick up from Rick's. And I did get one of the 4 maybes that was on my list from Rick's, plus one other thing that I hadn't planned on. So everything I'm coming here at PCV Records for now were all maybes on my list, if I can find them here, and see what else they've got. I did stop at Archtop Cafe, and he did not participate this record store day. I was talking to him, and he'd said that the last couple record store days he'd been lumbered with a lot of leftover stock, and he didn't feel the list for Black Friday was that good, and that his customers were kind of expressing there was nothing they were super interested in, so he decided not to get any record store day. So Archtop Vinyl Bar was a bust, and so now this is my 3rd stop, PCV, and I'll see what I get here at PCV, and I'll see you guys soon. So I found a few things here at PCV. I'll show you guys when I get home, everything I got on Record Store Day. Scored pretty good. And just give you guys a quick scan of PCV's Record Store Day stock here. Come on down to PCV and check out their stuff. They've still got plenty of Record Store Day stock.
Have a great day. See you later.
So come on down and check out PCV Records. They got lots of stuff. Come on, check them out. Lots of Black Friday Record Store Day stock for you guys. Okay. So I've returned from my trip to Black Friday Record Store Day shopping. I went to Rick's Recollections in Port Credit, Ontario first. That was followed by a trip over to Archtop Vinyl Bar, which is just a few blocks down the street from Rick's, also in Port Credit, Ontario. From there, I drove out to Oakville, Ontario, to PCV Records, hit them up, and then on my way back home, I quickly stopped by Sunrise Records and check them out. And Sunrise Records really had nothing of interest. They just had a few titles and nothing of interest there. So my haul pretty much came from Rick's Recollections. It was pretty much 50-50 from Rick's Recollections and from PCV Records. I did very well. I got pretty much everything I wanted except for one title that apparently nobody seems to have gotten, and I've heard around that nobody seems to have gotten, and that was the Jazz Dispensary. I wanted the Jazz Dispensary. I get the Jazz Dispensary albums every year, and unfortunately nobody had the Jazz Dispensary album. They didn't even receive it. So I guess I'll just have to pick that up online somewhere. It shouldn't be too hard to find. And the other one that I didn't get, which was announced yesterday, was the Pet Shop Boys Claptone 12-inch single. And they only announced it yesterday, but unfortunately it was only available in UK record stores, so I'll probably have to find that online as well and buy from a flipper. So those are the only two things I didn't get. I wasn't expecting Pet Shop Boys, and Jazz Dispensary, unfortunately, nobody seems to have gotten one around, that from what I heard, and I'll dig that up. But I got everything else I wanted, plus three that I wasn't expecting to buy today, which is always the case with Record Store Day. So let's get on with it. Now, the first one in this pile is not for me, but I'm going to show it anyhow. I picked this up from my good friend Mark Anthony K of Project Gemini fame. Mark is a good friend of mine, and he shot me a message, said, "Anthony, are you going to Record Store Day? You know I'm a Bowie guy. Please pick me up the David Bowie, I think it's called The Next Day. The David Bowie The Next Day album." So I picked this up for my friend Mark. So Mark, come and get your David Bowie Next Day album. This is for my friend Mark Anthony K from Project Gemini. This is not for me. So just so you guys can see what it looks like, this is the David Bowie The Next Day EP. And this is going to my good friend Mark Anthony K of Project Gemini. Next up is my number one want this year was The Cure's Wish. Easy to get. Rick had quite a few copies. PCV had quite a few copies. I knew this album was coming out, and I was on the fence. Should I buy the deluxe CD? I might down the line buy the deluxe CD, mainly because I don't really need the album on CD, but the deluxe CD comes with 2 discs, I think it is, of unreleased and demos. Unreleased tracks and demos. I believe it's 24 extra songs, but those aren't coming on the vinyl versions of Wish. Those are only coming on the CD version. So maybe down the line I might pick up the CD version just to get those 24 unreleased demos and unused songs. I'll debate that one, but I wanted Wish. The black vinyl version of Wish comes out at the end of January or early February. I could have waited for the black vinyl, but I've been buying the Record Store Day picture discs of The Cure for years now, and honestly they all sound great, and I think a lot of other people can also attest that the Cure picture discs all sound fantastic. So I really needed this album, and like I said, I could have waited for the black vinyl in January, February, but I went for it now. It's a double vinyl LP pressing, the 30th anniversary edition. First time on 2 LP picture disc, features the singles Friday I'm in Love, Hi, and A Letter to Elise. And of course, this has been all remastered by Mr. Robert Smith. So there you have it, the 2 LP picture disc of The Cure's Wish. That was my number one want for Record Store Day Black Friday. Next up is my number 2 want for Record Store Day Black Friday, and both Rick's Recollections and PCV Records had tons of them, so easy to get, and that is Duran Duran's Hammersmith 1982. So this is pretty much during the Rio tour, so all the songs on here are from either Rio or their debut album. So really excited to hear this. It's a 2 LP set on gold vinyl. 2 LP set on gold vinyl. Hammersmith 1982. Duran Duran live. And as you can see, it's got all the greats on there. Rio, Hungry Like the Wolf, Night Boat, New Religion, Save a Prayer, Planet Earth, Friends of Mine, Careless Memories, Make Me Smile, Girls on Film. This is going to be a sweet spin. Love Duran Duran. This was my number 2 want. So happy to get my number 1 and number 2 wants. No problem. Easy peasy to get this year. The next couple are from my 4 of my maybes list. And the first is Joe Strummer. Live at Music Millennium. Joe Strummer, November 2nd, 1999, shortly before he passed away. And it's a live, never before released, rare acoustic in-store performance featuring Junko partner, X-Ray style. I'm looking forward to this. This was in my maybe list. It was more like maybe most likely. Depended on the price and so on and so forth. But yeah, it was one of my 4 maybes. Junko partner, X-Ray style, Island Hopping, The Road to Rock and Roll, and Trash City. Looking forward to spinning this. Joe Strummer, live at Music Millennium. That was one of my 4 maybes. The second of my 4 maybes was actually not really so much as a maybe as a want. This was probably my 3rd most wanted album of Record Store Day Black Friday, but I had a feeling it was going to be hard to get. I knew Rick wasn't going to be getting it for sure. I knew he wasn't going to be getting it, and PCV only got 2 copies, so I was worried by the time I got to PCV it would be sold out, because I always go to Rick's first. But I was lucky enough to score a copy at PCV, and this is Lights, and I love Lights. I've talked about Lights before. This is Lights, from her second album, I believe was Siberia was her second album, but this is the acoustic version, Lights Siberia Acoustic. It's on a limited edition opaque sky blue vinyl, and it's the first time it's been released on vinyl. So happy to have this for my Lights collection. I love Lights, fabulous Canadian artist. So nice to really, this was my 3rd most wanted, so really thrilled to get this. Definitely thrilled to get this. Lights and her Siberia Acoustic. That was my 3rd most wanted album, and super happy to score this one. And so those were basically the 2 that I really wanted, and 2 of the 4 maybes that I had on my list. The other 2 maybes were, of course, the Pet Shop Boys one and the Jazz Dispensary. So I'm really happy to get the 2 most wanted, and pretty much my second, actually my 4 most wanted. Let's just get real here. Pretty much my 4 most wanted. The Jazz Dispensary I'll find somewhere. The Pet Shop Boys I'll find somewhere. And now the last few I'm going to show you. These were ones I had not planned on getting. That the first one here, which is this one here, Heat of the Moment, Only Time Will Tell, live in Tokyo in 2007. This one I did not know about, or did not notice on the list. And it's a 10-inch orange vinyl single taken from the Fantasia live album, which I do have on CD. I actually have this album on CD, autographed by the entire band, because I actually was at this concert, or at least the Canadian leg of this concert, and picked up the Fantasia live CD at the concert, and it's signed by the entire band. So really thrilled to see this, because I did not know about this one. So it's, just a 10-inch single from that performance, and really just happy to have that one that I had not planned on today, but it was, it's always the way with Record Store Day. You always end up buying a couple things that weren't even on your list. And the last 2 that I'm going to show you were also not really high on my radar. They weren't in my top, the ones that I had absolutely wanted, or were maybes. I knew there was a Jimi Hendrix. I wasn't sure what it was all about, so but when I saw it and had a look at it, I decided to go for it. It's Jimi Hendrix, Burning Desire, released, by the Jimi Hendrix estate. It is, it's properly mastered and whatnot. 1969 and 1970 studio recordings mixed by Ebbie Crater, the official Jimi Hendrix bootleg. After reading it, I was really quite excited to pick this one up. A lot of songs: Isabella, Cherokee Mist, Astro Man. I'm really looking forward to this double vinyl spin. I think it's going to be sweet. So this was one that wasn't planned, and I decided to go for it. Hendrix, Burning Desire, double LP. One that was not on my list, but that I splurged for, which is always the way on Record Store Day. And the last album I'm going to show you. I never thought in a million years I would buy this album. I knew it was coming out. I didn't know what it was all about at the time, but I knew it was coming out. Ringo Starr, that's right. And people know I'm not a big Beatles guy at all. I like McCartney solo, McCartney and Wings stuff. I'm not a big Beatles guy at all. I do like Paul McCartney and Wings, and I actually only have Ringo Starr's greatest hits on vinyl. And so this would have probably been the last thing you would see AGK ever buy. But I went for it because I was with a friend of mine. I went shopping with a friend of mine today, a good friend of mine and he was telling me about this album. When he saw it, he told me about who was on this album and so on and so forth. And once I looked at the track listing and realized who's performing on this album, this was a real blind buy, took a chance. Like I said, not a big Ringo fan, but I went for it. And it is Ringo Starr and his all-star band, live at the Greek Theater in 2019. I'm actually excited to hear this. And like I said, I'm not a Ringo fan, but when I saw who was on this, I couldn't refuse it, because it's got members of Santana are in his all-star band on this particular concert. Members of Toto are on in the band for this concert, and members from Men at Work are in this band for the concert. When I looked at the track listing, we've got Evo Ways from Santana, we got Rosanna from Toto, we got Down Under from Men at Work. Of course, we got some Beatles and Ringo classics. We got Black Magic Woman, of course, classic Santana. I Love Your 16, always have. Overkill, which is Men at Work. Africa, which is Toto. Oi Como Va, which is Santana. And, Who Can It Be Now? Men at Work. Hold the Line, which is Toto. Photograph, of course, the classic Photograph. Little Help for My Friends. I love Toto. I love Santana. I like Men at Work. So I'm actually really excited to hear this album. And it's on a yellow 180 grand double vinyl. So the big surprise for me of the day, which could turn out to be something real sweet, Ringo Starr. AGK bought Ringo Starr. And that's it. That's all. That's my Record Store Day Black Friday 2022 haul and vlog. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. And I'll see you in my next video. And as I always say, rock and roll.